The story you're about to see is a big fat lie. No names have been changed to protect anybody.
There's no sports league unlike it anywhere in the world, where cartoons and football come together. This is the United States Cartoon Football League, celebrating its 40th anniversary.
Let's get ready to rumble!
And now, the USCFL Network, in association with YouTube, presents the USCFL Postgame Show. Here's once again is Robbie Graham.
Greetings, cartoon and football fans. This is Robbie Graham of the USCFL Network, bringing you the action and highlights of Week 12 and the final week of Round 3 of the USCFL's 40th anniversary season. The matchups for the quarterfinals have now been determined. As the season heats up towards its finale, so does the weather as we welcome the first day of summer. And to you dads out there, we wish you a happy and safe Father's Day. At the end of this video, we will show you who will face each other in the quarterfinals, and in a separate video, we will present all the action and highlights of Round 3 as the quarterfinals begins next week. After a brief pause, we will talk about and present the highlights of Game 23 between the DC Comics All-Stars and the Disney All-Stars from Orlando, Florida.
Happy or sad, you
Welcome back. At the happiest stadium on earth, the DC Comics All-Stars and the Disney All-Stars played for the right to go to the quarterfinals. After two very disappointing defeats, the DC Comics All-Stars were hoping to turn things around. But when you play Disney at home, they are very tough to beat. DC Comics scored 45 points each in two losing efforts to Team Canada and the classic cartoon All-Stars. Even from the beginning, this was Disney's game. Although Batgirl began the scoring for DC Comics with a field goal, Disney fired back with a touchdown run by Sheriff Woody of Toy Story from 7 yards out. An Ariel field goal gave Disney a 10-7 first quarter lead. In the second quarter, Buzz Lightyear carried the ball into the end zone and beyond from 41 yards out to go 17-3 midway through the quarter. With under a minute left, Timon of the Lion King intercepted a Wonder Woman pass and ran it in from 79 yards out, the longest pick six so far this season, to give Disney a 24-3 halftime lead. DC Comics tried to mount a comeback as they had all the scores in the third quarter. First, Wonder Woman found fourth-string receiver The Question from 6 yards out midway through the third quarter. Then, with a little over 3 minutes left, Robin carried the ball in from 2 yards out. DC Comics cut the lead to 7, 24-17 at the end of the third quarter. The fourth quarter belonged to Disney, as Stitch intercepted a Wonder Woman pass and ran it in from 18 yards out. With under 6 minutes left, Mickey Mouse found Kim Possible in the end zone from 5 yards out. Ariel put the cherry on the sundae just past the 2-minute warning with a short field goal as Disney beat DC Comics 41-17. Disney advances to the quarterfinals, but will play on the road since they didn't score enough points. For DC Comics, they finished in 10th place. As for the stats of this game, beginning with DC Comics, Wonder Woman was 29 of 51 for 303 yards, 1 touchdown, and 4 interceptions. Robin carried the ball 32 times for 104 yards and 1 touchdown. The Question was the top receiver with 5 catches for 98 yards and 1 touchdown. The Joker led the defense with 6 tackles, 8 assists, and 1 sack. Batgirl finished with 5 points. For Disney, Mickey Mouse went 21 of 33 for 172 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. Buzz Lightyear carried the ball 34 times for 178 yards and 1 touchdown. Kim Possible led the receivers with 6 catches for just 46 yards and 1 touchdown. Pocahontas led the defense with 9 tackles, 3 assists, and 1 interception. Timon was the game MVP with 6 tackles, 3 assists, 1 interception, and the pick 6 he had in the second quarter. Ariel finished with 11 points. And here is how the highlights of this game looked on screen. After a brief pause, we will talk about and present the highlights of an exciting Game 24 and the final game of Round 3 between the Nickelodeon All-Stars and the Fox All-Stars from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Hot town, summer in the city, back of my neck getting dirt and gritty. Been down, isn't it a pity? Doesn't seem to be a shadow in the city. All around, people looking half dead, walking on the sidewalk harder than a match head. But at night it's a different world. Go out and find a girl. Come on and dance all night. Despite the heat, it'll be alright. And babe, don't you know it's a pity the days can't be like the nights in the summer, in the city, in the summer, in the city. Cool town, even in the city, dressed so fine and looking so pretty. Cool cat, looking for a kitty, gonna look in every corner of the city. Till I'm wheezing like a bus stop, running up the stairs, gonna meet you on the rooftop. But at night it's a different world. Go out and find a girl. Come on and dance all night. Just like
Welcome back. The final game of Round 3 proved to be exciting, as the Nickelodeon All-Stars and the Fox All-Stars were looking to punch the final ticket to the quarterfinals. For most of the game, both teams were neck and neck with each other. They were tied an unprecedented 5 times, but in the end, Fox had more to offer and won the game. It seems that these games begins with a field goal. Sam Manson of Danny Phantom started out the scoring with a field goal. When Milhouse Van Houten of The Simpsons tied the game for the first time with a field goal of his own, backup Nickelodeon running back Lincoln Loud of the Loud House broke the tie with a 2-yard touchdown run as Nick led 10-3 at the end of the first quarter. Right at the start of the second quarter, Fox tied the game again as Bart Simpson, the game's MVP, found Taranga Leela of Futurama from 22 yards out. Nickelodeon broke the tie again as SpongeBob SquarePants found Katara of Avatar, The Last Airbender from 5 yards out. Nick extended the lead as SpongeBob threw a second touchdown pass to his castmate Sandy Cheeks from 15 yards out to go up by 2 touchdowns. Fox cut the lead in half as Bart Simpson found backup receiver Amy Wan of Futurama from 12 yards out as Nick led 24-17 at halftime. In the third quarter, Bart Simpson tied the game again with a 12-yard touchdown run off of the quarterback sneak. Fox took the lead for the first time in the game with a Milhouse field goal. However, and for the fourth time, Nick tied the game again at 27-27 with a short Sam Manson field goal. In the fourth quarter, Nick took the lead again as SpongeBob and Sandy Cheeks connected again from 4 yards out. For the fifth and final time, Bart Simpson got a second rushing touchdown from 1 yard out with more than 10 minutes left in the game. Believe me when I tell you that I thought, as did my viewers and listeners, that this game could go into overtime like last Saturday's game did. However, Fox retook the lead and kept it for good as Milhouse kicked his third field goal. With then just under 2 minutes left to play, defensive end Cleveland Brown of Family Guy recovered a fumble and ran it in from 18 yards out. On the next drive and 10 seconds later, SpongeBob threw an 80-yard strike to his other castmate Squidward Tentacles to trail by 3 with 1:44 left to play. After Nick used up all of its timeouts and after Philip J. Fry of Futurama got a first down with under 90 seconds left, it was all Fox needed to secure a very close game to win 44-41. Like Disney, Fox didn't score enough points to stay at home for the quarterfinals and will play on the road instead. Nickelodeon finished in 9th place after we predicted that they would be Disney Bowl champs at the start of the season. As for the stats, beginning with Nickelodeon, SpongeBob went 26 of 46 for 378 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Danny Phantom carried the ball 34 times for 199 yards. Sandy Cheeks led the receivers with 9 catches for 135 yards and 2 touchdowns. Bessie Higginbottom, also known as the Mighty Bee, led the defense with 9 tackles, 8 assists, and 1 sack. Sam Manson finished with 11 points. For Fox, Bart Simpson went 17 of 28 for 258 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also had 2 rushing touchdowns on 16 carries for 97 yards. Philip J. Fry carried the ball 24 times for 162 yards. Glenn Quagmire of Family Guy led the receivers with 5 catches for 97 yards. Chris Griffin, also of Family Guy, led the defense with 5 tackles and 7 assists. Milhouse finished with 14 points. And here is how the highlights of this exciting game looked on screen. After one final pause, we will preview the games of the quarterfinals along with the answer to last week's trivia question and this week's question. Welcome back. Before we reveal the answer to last week's trivia question, take one final look at the following chart. The question was to name the channel numbers these shows turns to for local news. And here are the answers. King of the Hill residents gets their news on Channel 84, and Nancy Gribble is their meteorologist. Ironically, up until the early 90s, UHF channels only went up to Channel 83. Since the 90s, UHF channels only go up to 69. So Channel 84 is truly a fictional channel. On South Park, they get their news from Channel 4. The Simpsons and the rest of Springfield turns to Kent Brockman on Channel 6. On Family Guy, the residents of Quahog gets their news on Channel 5, as does most of Fox's owned and operated or affiliated stations. And in Dimsdale, home to the Fairly Odd Parents, they get their news on Channel 7. Now for this week's trivia question. This week's question is another true or false question. For those of you joining us for the first time, when we ask a true or false question, there is no degree of difficulty as you have a 50-50 chance of being correct. Also, if you wish to participate in the trivia challenge, please do not put your answers in the comments section, as you might accidentally give away the correct answer. Please put your answers down on paper, then check back each week for the correct answer. Here is this week's question. True or false? Until Kim Possible hit the airwaves, the Disney Channel had a policy in which any show produced on the network couldn't go beyond 3 seasons or 65 episodes. We'll have the answer for you next week. And that will do it for week 12 and the final week of round 3 of the USCFL's 40th anniversary season. Next week, the quarterfinals begins, as we will talk about and present the highlights of Game 25 between the Red Hot Classic Cartoon All-Stars and the Marvel Comics All-Stars from New Orleans, and the highlights of Game 26 between the Modern Cartoon All-Stars and the defending champion Filmation All-Stars from Richmond, Virginia. Also look for our complete highlight reel, now up on YouTube, for round 3. Once again, we wish all you dads out there a very happy and safe Father's Day. And until next Sunday, this is Robbie Graham of the USCFL Network wishing you peace. Take care and stay safe.